Crater Lake. Now, if you remember rightly, we were at the point where Katya has just been hit in the arm. They found out that the spit from these creatures sort of makes them fall asleep. So Katya managed to put this breathing mask on that Lance usually has to wear at night time, and it enabled her to not take in any of the spores. So even though she was asleep, she didn't get transformed into one of these bug-eyed creatures. So we've got Lance, we've got Katya, we've got Trent, we've got Big Mac, we've got Adrienne, all trying to run away from these bug-eyes. Chapter 15. We set Trent up with the oxygen, and he crawls deeper into the hollowed-out bush to get some sleep. He totally hasn't earned the right to have the next nap, but to be honest, we're all sick of listening to the rubbish that keeps coming out of his stupid mouth, and we're looking forward to some time to chat amongst ourselves without his smug comments. Kat, Aid, Mac and I all climb up onto the lookout tree, and we find the comfiest branches to sit on, which isn't easy because branches weren't made comfortable for humans. We have Dale's notes with us, and they're just a bunch of meaningless squiggles. They'd be hard to work out on a good day, but now we're so tired we just can't even think straight. We've got no chance of getting anything useful from them. Are you feeling all right, Katya? I ask. Surprisingly, I feel fine, she says, apart from a bit of tiredness and hunger and blisters and stuff. How about you guys? Same, says Mac, yawning like a lion. Yeah, do you want the next sleeping spot? I say. No. Let Adrienne have it. Why should I have it? Adrienne says. Because I'm a girl? Mac's stumped. I'm pretty sure there's no correct answer to this question. I'm not as tired as you, so it makes sense that you go first, she says. Unless you need it, Lance. Nah, I'm okay. I'm used to managing on hardly any sleep. I mean, I'm tired, obviously, but I can wait a bit longer. So, is the CPAP machine yours? Mac asks. I can't see him because he's on a higher branch than me and hidden by the leaves, but I can hear in his voice that he's quite nervous about asking. How do you know about CPAP masks, I ask. I've done first aid training, Max says, among other things. What is a CPAP? Kat asks. Is that the oxygen mask thingy that you gave me? It's a breathing regulator, says Mac. The gadget attached to the tube makes sure that the airways when you're breathing are kept open, so your breathing is nice and steady and stabilised. They're used by people with sleep apnea, I say. This is part of the secret I have been holding on to for years. I have sleep apnea. When I try to sleep, my breathing just stops and then it makes me jump awake. The hospital gave me this breathing mask so I can get some proper rest and sleep properly, and I just can't sleep without it. Oh, so that's why you never go to sleepovers, Katya says. Well, it's one of the reasons, I say. Well, what's the other reason? Aid is up on the branch with Mac, and I imagine them looking at each other, making faces, raising eyebrows at loser Lance and his weird sleeping habits. But I'm too tired and too much has happened for me to bother hiding stuff from them anymore. My mum. She has Crohn's disease. I pick at my nails, which are black with dirt. She got it when she was pregnant with me. It makes her really sick. She goes into hospital a lot, and she can't really leave the house that much. Oh, so you don't like people going to your house, Max says. There's a moment of quiet. Well, why didn't you just tell us? Katya's sitting on the branch next to mine, and I can tell she's looking right at me, but I don't look back. Because I didn't want to intimidate you with my coolness, I say. The branch above me rustles. Do you want to know how I know so much about first aid and survival skills and tracking, Max says. Well, I have been wondering about that, actually. I risk a glance over at Kat. She smiles at me, and not in a weird way. In the same way she always does, like everything's a safe and warm sort of smile. Well, you know how every summer I tell you I've got to go to Lithuania to see my family, and I can't make contact with any of you because they don't have Wi-Fi over there? Mac's family have been spending a whole summer in Lithuania for as long as I can remember. And you said there that nobody there has mobile phones, says Kat. Yeah, well, it's not strictly true, says Mac. We do go to Lithuania, but not to see family. My mum and dad, they're preppers. Preppers, Adrienne says. Yeah, they're getting me and Susie's Max's little sister, ready for the end of the world. What? Wait, I've never heard Adrian so confused. They think that there's going to be a third world war or a global natural disaster or a zombie apocalypse or some other massive event that will destroy the world as we know it, Max says. So they've built a bunker, like a big dugout house, in the countryside in Lithuania. It's like 3 stories underneath the ground. It's got electricity, a bathroom, kitchen, bedrooms, all full of stuff. Everything we'd need to survive on our own for years. As far as bunkers go, it's legit. So you go there every summer, I say. Yeah, my parents take it super seriously. We're totally off-grid. We're not allowed any contact with the outside world when we're there. And they teach us to build fires and hunt and stuff. But isn't Susie only like 4 in reception, Katya says? Doesn't mean she can't catch a rabbit. Whoa, says Aid. Look, I know it probably seems kind of insane to you guys, Max says. Well, Max's parents seem so normal. I had no idea. Well, do you want to know why I'm so good at climbing? I look over at Katya, but she's concentrating hard on braiding her hair. Yeah, I say, because let's face it, we've all been wondering. Well, I was taken into care when I was really little, she says. My mum, she couldn't look after me. She tried, but she just couldn't. Oh, Kat, Adrian says, I'm really sorry, I didn't know. Nobody does. Kat unbraids her hair and starts all over again. I was in a home for a while. It smelt funny and the bed was hard. My room felt like a prison and I hated it. So I ran away over and over again. Then they put me in a foster home and I hated that too. I got really good at climbing out the windows and escaping across the rooftops. She smiles in a way that makes her eyes twinkle. Eventually, I went to a foster home that I liked, and my foster mum adopted me, so everything turned out fine. But for a few years, climbing was really the only thing that made me feel better. I suddenly really want to hug her, but that's not so easy to do when you're perched on a separate branch in a massive tree. I can't believe that you guys have been keeping these huge secrets for so long, Adrian says. I mean, I would have thought you would have shared this stuff with each other. I understand why you wouldn't want it spread around the school, especially with idiots like Trent around. So, what's the story with you two then, I say? We all thought you and Trent were like besties, you know, being head boy and head girl together. I have never liked him, she says. I used to tolerate him, but then... What happened, Max says. I don't really want to say. Oh, please tell us, Aid, Kat says. We've told you our secrets. Yeah, tell us. And then we all start chanting quietly. Tell us, tell us, tell us. Fine, she says. But this story had better never leave base camp, or I will hunt you down and kill you. All right, we promise, I say. You can trust us. It's not like the stuff you guys have been through, she says, but it was the worst moment of my life. It happened in year 5. It was half term and my mum got a call from Trent's mum saying that he was having a last-minute birthday party and that he'd really like me to go. I don't remember him having a birthday party, Max says. I mean, obviously we wouldn't have been invited. But he definitely would have made sure we knew about it. One of Trent's favourite things was to make me, Chet, Mac and Kat feel left out. Well, I didn't really want to go, but my mum made me feel guilty and said at least I'd get to see my friends. So I agreed, Adrienne continues. Of course, none of us had phones then, so I couldn't check with anyone. I am liking where this is going, this story, I say, and I look at Katya to see her grinning. Well, so the next afternoon, my mum drops me off at this posh spa hotel. Trent's mum meets us at the door and tells my mum to collect me at 7. That is 5 hours. I repeat, 5 hours from the time that I got there. Now, the first part of the party is in the pool, she says, so I got changed into my swimming things and I go to the pool expecting everyone from school to be there. She takes a breath. But there was just Trent and his entire family. I'm not just saying his mum and dad and older sister, but aunties and uncles and cousins and me. keep looking at the pool entrance, thinking any moment my friends from school are just going to walk in, or at least somebody I know. But an hour ticks by and I realise that nobody else is coming. It's just me. What, and all the Trents? Max sniggers. Look, I'm not happy about it, but I don't want to upset Trent's mum, so I just get on with it. I swim some laps, I play politely with the inflatables. Oh, this is one of the best stories ever, says Kat. Then, after swimming, we all get into this hot tub thing, Aid says, and we sit in there chatting with these fruity drinks, all of us in a circle. I am just willing the time to pass quickly, but it feels like it's going so slowly. And then finally we get out and we get changed and everything. Oh, please say the story isn't over yet, I say. It's not over yet, Aid says, and I can imagine how pink her face is. We go into the hotel restaurant and they've now booked a huge table for all of them. It's decorated with balloons and sparkles and birthday banners. I go to sit down, but the waiter says, "No, mademoiselle, we have a special table for the birthday boy and his girlfriend." Kat lets out a little squeaky giggle and I squeeze my lips shut so I don't laugh. Next to the big table, Aid says, is another small table with 2 chairs. Go on, Max says. Another breath. And a rose. And a candle. Katia is shaking with giggles. She's trying not to let it out. I put a twig between my mouth and bite down hard. Anything to keep me from laughing. Mac makes a noise that's like half laugh and half cough. The whole family is now saying how sweet it is, and they're taking photos of us together. Hold hands, they say. I am just dying inside. I kind of wished I'd drowned in the swimming pool. Well, there's no holding it in now. We're all laughing so hard we nearly fall out of the tree. It was harrowing, Aid says. So what did you do, Mac asks. Well, I got out and I ran to the reception of the hotel and I just started crying. Even Adrienne is laughing now. Trent's mum called my mum to pick me up and I just sobbed all the way home. We laugh so much now that the whole tree shakes and a bit of leaf and twig drop through the branches like confetti. We better wake Trent up now, I say. We don't know how long we'll have to be here before the bug-eyes come and we all need to get some sleep. Maybe he's been eaten by bears, Aid says hopefully. Vale did say something about bears, do you remember? I say, right after he asked for water. I wonder what that was about. Kat gasps and starts flicking through Dale's notes. I saw something, a picture, she says. Oh, here it is. She leans over and shows me a pencil sketch of a creature that looks like a cross between a woodlouse and a hippo, and underneath it's written water bear, and it's underlined about 8 times. What the heck's a water bear, I say. It's another name for a tardigrade, Matt calls down. Let me see the pic. A hand is thrust through the leaves and I pass him the bit of paper. Yeah, this is a tardigrade, he said. Oh, it looks really terrifying, says Adrian. I hope there aren't any of those lurking around here. Well, first of all, says Mac, you can only see them with a microscope. They're microscopic, kind of like alien spores. And second, they are actually awesome. They can survive the most extreme conditions and they live off stuff that would kill other species. They eat the bad bits of things, the rotten parts, and they leave healthy parts behind. They can purify water, for instance. Okay, this is interesting. My brain is fighting through a sleepy fog, but I'm sure there is something here we can use. Guys, Adrian says, and a branch above me creaks. I think she's climbing down the tree. I see movement. Can you get any higher, Kat? Katya leaps up the trunk and out of my view like some kind of tree-climbing ballerina. It's them, she says. Hock, Digger and Chet. They're spread out through the trees and they are heading this way. Ah, damn! They're sweeping the woods, I say. Everybody climb down as quick and quietly as possible. We've got to grab our stuff and move on. Oh, we better wake Trent, Kat says. Couldn't we just leave him here? Adrienne climbs down to my branch, then drops to her ground. Ooh, bird poo, she says, and wipes her hands on Trent's backpack. 2 minutes later, we're trekking through the trees again. Where are we going now? Trent says. He was not happy about being woken up, and I genuinely think he would have refused to take the oxygen mask off if we hadn't told him that the hunters were on their way. I've been thinking, I say. Everyone except us has been alienated now, right? And they think we're hiding in the woods. So you think we should go back to the building, says Aid. Well, the scent is clear as far as they're concerned. The security cameras are off, thanks to Chet's. I don't think they'll look for us there. Are you mental? Trent says far too loudly, considering we're being hunted by hostile aliens. I'm not going back to that place. You don't have to, Adrian says. You can stay outside on your own if you prefer. No, it's a good idea, Lance. We could hole up, get a bit more rest. Mac really seems to be struggling and he can hardly keep his eyes open. And we can get a closer look at what they're up to down there, says Aid. Who cares what they're up to, Trent says. All we have to do is to keep out their way for one more night. The coach will be back tomorrow morning and we can get the hell out of here. Well, it can't hurt to do some more recon, I said. I don't have the energy to argue with Trent. Why does he have to make everything so hard? Our friends have turned into alien bugs. Don't you want to be able to help them once we get out of here? He shrugs. Nice, Kat says. You're willing to sacrifice yourself to save the rest of your class, Trent says. Well, you are idiots. We're not idiots, Trent. We just want to do what's right, I say. Yeah, you're so perfect, aren't you, Fangs? Wouldn't ever do anything horrible to anyone, like shut them in the toilet so they miss their Bing entrance exam. Shut up, Trent, I say. You still haven't told them, have you? He smirks in his infuriating way. I thought you were all such good friends. I'm scared to tell them because of the way that Chet's reacted, but I'm so sick of this hanging over my head. It's been 9 months of lying, 9 months of being afraid that the truth will come out, and I am done with it. Fine, I say. I did trap you in the toilets, Trent, and if I was in that situation again, I would do the same thing. Finally, I'm telling Miss Hock if she ever stops being an alien. I've already told her. I told her this morning, I say, and I'll take whatever punishment she gives me. Is that what you and Chet's argued about? Kat says. I nod. We've stopped walking. We're standing in a circle in a small clearing in the trees. But why did you shut him in? Kat says. I'm surprised that nobody's ever seemed to care about why someone trapped Trent in the toilets. Only that someone, me, did, and that it was a despicable thing to do. Because I didn't want him to get into Bing, I said. I was in the toilets and I heard him talking to his mates. Trent looks down and starts scuffing his feet in the dry dirt. He said that Bing is going to be ultra competitive and that he'll have to go in hard and prove himself if he wants to be top dog. He was planning to use Chet's to make his point. He was going to make Chet's life really miserable so that everyone knew that Chet was weak and Trent was strong. I realise I'm breathing fast. My heart is thumping in my chest. I feel like I might faint. He said that, with me out of the way, he'll be able to do whatever he wants to Chet, because I wouldn't be there to protect him. Did you tell Chet this? Max says. No, not that part. He's super excited about going there, and he should be. He's so smart, and I didn't want it to ruin it for him, to make him scared about going before he even got started. Well, why didn't you admit it was you straight away, though, Max says. You don't normally lie about stuff. Well, because Hock already had it in for me. If she knew I did it, she would have had me excluded from school. I would have been sent away. Then I wouldn't have been with any of you guys and I wouldn't have been able to keep Chet safe. Well, when Chet stops being an alien, you have got to explain this to him, Kat says. He will forgive you. I know he will. What about you guys? I say. Do you hate me? I do, Trent says. Well, that's no loss, Adrian says. I don't hate you, Lance. I don't think you went about things in the best way, but I can understand anyone wanting to shut Trent away in a room. I'd probably have done the same thing if I'd been there, Max says, or possibly something worse. You did it for the right reasons. Katya puts her arm around me. She smells of coconut cupcakes and warm milk. You're a good friend. And just like that, the secret's been there burning a hole in me for months, and it's out in the open. And my friends are still my friends. Well, except Chet's. But I'm going to make that right. Thanks, guys, I say. And I take a stupidly long time rooting around in my bag for my water, even though I know it's in my backpack, because I don't want them to see how close I am to crying. Unbelievable, says Trent, and he storms off ahead. It isn't long before we see the roof of the centre through the trees. Trent crashes towards it like a hungry T-Rex chasing its prey. I'd say our chances of surviving are significantly lower with him around, Adrian says. As we get closer, I realise something big is going down at the lake. There's a lot of noise, like at the dam site, but at times 100. We're at the back of the building, so we can't see what's going on, but whatever it is, it's keeping the bug eyes busy so we can sneak in without being seen. Our priority right now is to get Max set up with the CPAP. He looks like hell. His eyes are red, the skin around his eyes are a worrying grey colour. We make our way to my room, which is exactly as I left it, fit the mask to his face and switch on the machine. He lies on the bed and is asleep within literally 3 seconds. It's weird seeing him like this. He's the biggest of all of us. With his shaved hair and muscles, he usually seems so tough. Now he looks like any other kid, all tuckered out after a long day. So what now? Kat says. We need to find out what's happening by the lake, I say. Trent and I should go, as we've both had some sleep. You and Adrian can wait here and chill. I'm not going out there. Trent's sitting on the floor and has got a pack of cards out. He doesn't even look out. Adrian opens her mouth to argue with him, but I stop her. To be honest, I say, I'd rather be doing something. Keep moving. If I sit down, I think I might pass out. Same, says Aid. OK, Kat sits down, leans back about the bed. I'll stay and I'll watch Mac. Be careful, guys, OK? You too, I say. And if anything goes wrong, feel free to sacrifice Trent. Aid and I decide to leave the building by the back entrance and make our way round to the lake from the outside. It's late afternoon and there's no breeze to relieve the scorching heat. The air smells stale like last week's PE kit and my skin itches. We edge around the red brick wall, past the security office and the fire exit until we have a good view of the lake, or what's left of it. They're draining the water out of the lake, Adrian says. Look, they've dug a channel that leads out of the crater for the water to run down. I think that's a pump they've been running too. So what do you think happens when the lake is empty, I ask. Well, we know they hate the water, I say. It's too cold for them, but it's a lot of trouble to go to when they could easily just avoid going in there. So do you think there's another reason? It's the only thing that makes sense. They're trying to accomplish something and emptying the lake is part of it. But what though? The end of the world, I say? Aid looks at me. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Look, we need more information. Agreed. Are you up for getting a little bit closer, I say. She's now running for the tree line without bothering to answer. You have to respect her conviction. She's a girl who gets things done. I guess there are pros and cons to this alien invasion business, but one major bonus has been spending time with Adrienne. All those years at school together and I never really knew her at all. Life or death dramas are great for bonding, apparently. Who knew? We use the trees as cover and make our way around the main clearing to a place where the lake comes closest to the trees, separated only by a path just wide enough for the cars to drive down. To our right is a biggish building, kind of like an upgraded garden shed or one of those creepy barns in the movies where murderers keep their victims tied up. The grass surrounding it's long, dead-looking, full of buzzing insects. There are tyre tracks leading from the road through the yellow grass to the giant front door, which is open a crack. I reckon the staff must keep their cars in there. We drop to our bellies and we slither through the grass like a snake, only less stealthy and with more under-breath swears that we get scratched and bitten by insects. We stop at the side of the serial killer's shed and we watch and we listen. Can you see how low the water level is? I say. It's almost a whole metre lower than it was when we swam it earlier. That lake saved us and now it's disappearing scarily fast. Aid doesn't answer, so I look over and I see that she's dozing off. Aid! Aid! I whisper, scared to give away a position. Her head starts to droop forward. I nudge her hard with my elbow. She jumps awake with a yelp that sounds like the noise my cat makes when you stand on her. A group of bug eyes standing by the road all turn to look in our direction. We flatten ourselves down into the crispy grass and I hold my breath. Not that that's going to make a difference. Two of the bug eyes start walking our way. The shed, I say. I don't want to go in there, but there's no time to hide anywhere else. The bug eyes are a little way off and the front of the shed is angled away from them, so there's a chance we could just make it. We belly wriggle towards the door, open it just wide enough to squeeze through, and then we pull it shut behind us. Can you see anything, Owl Eyes? I ask Adrian. It's so dark in here, visibility's pretty much zero. Not much, but there's something big over there. I think it's a van or something. We should go and hide underneath it in case they come in. She's right. I know she's right. But there's something about this shed that's giving me the proper creeps. Going deeper in is like swimming inside a shark's jaws. It could only end badly. She grabs my arm and leads me through the darkness. I can just make out the van she was talking about, although it's covered in a cloth or some tarpaulin or something. We feel our way around and we crawl underneath, just in time. The shed door is pulled open about a metre. And through the weave of the tarpaulin, I see sunlight flood in. I edge forwards to take a peek. If they find us under here, we have nowhere to run, so it's pretty risky. But we can't waste an opportunity to find out more about what's going on. A bug-eye walks through the open door. It's not one of the hunters. I think it might be Krish. There's another bug-eye behind, but he's looking the other way, so I can only see the back of him. It looks like the same guy that Hock had tied to the chair in the office. Doesn't seem to be anything out of place in here, chair guy says. It's possible the noise was an animal, but we must be cautious. The other bug-eye is definitely Krish. He's gazing around the shed. I don't think I have ever held my body so still. It's almost painful. This stage of the incursion is vital. The lake must be emptied. We cannot be delayed. But we are on course, says the chair guy. The lake will be drained by sunrise. The sun's heat will reach our brothers and sisters who have been trapped under that repulsive water for so many years. Then they will be free to fly and find new bodies to take root in. It will be liberating to leave the confines of the crater, says Krish. Nothing will stop us. Chair guy turns around and my heart almost bursts out of my chest. I see nothing unusual in here, Krish says. Let us get back to work. The two bug-eyes leave the shed. My heart is pounding and my mouth is dry. We wait a minute before moving, then we inch out from our hiding place. Aid, I say, did you recognise that bug-eye, the older one? There was something familiar about him, but I can't work out where I know him from. I swallow. I take a breath. I think it was the coach driver. Our driver? Yeah, the one who's meant to be collecting us tomorrow morning. Okay, this is bad. She balls her hands into fists and rubs her eyes with her knuckles. Does that mean the coach isn't coming back? I take hold of the tarpaulin and I pull it with all my strength. The light coming in from the open door, we get a good look at what's underneath. It's the coach. I feel tired, empty and sick. I don't think the coach ever left.